Tip number 1, use a disguise. If witnesses can't identify who you are, then it's a question as to who done it. It may not be Arthur Morgan, but they're going to investigate. They just don't know it's you. So wear a disguise, because you don't want to pile up a bounty on yourself right away.
Give me all your money. Open that thing.
Tip number 2, you want to save your game beforehand. You know, there's a lot of things that can go wrong if you don't plan it out right, or if you don't do something right. So you want to save your game beforehand, because those bounties can add up, as we'll see later. Our next tip is scout in advance. I did a lot of this when I started. Once you play a lot in the city and so forth, you're kind of going to know as far as where things are. But when you're starting out, you might want to scout, you know, what I can hide behind, where I can go, which route has, you know, the most amount of law enforcement, which route doesn't. Is there more than one route? Is there not more than one route? You want to scout in advance. Like I said, once you play a little bit and you get to feel for the city, you don't need to scout as much. But if you're going to do something, you do kind of want to scout to get an idea where you're going, or at least it improves your odds anyway. Now, the preference here is to target unarmed shops. Unarmed shops are less likely to fight back. Sometimes you may not even have a witness. You know, so that's a good thing, because if there's no witness, then you don't have to deal with any problems. You don't have to run out and get out of there right away. You can just walk around and go about your business. You can even take the mask off. You know, sometimes there are witnesses. It varies as to which is which. Try to have an escape plan, and by that I mean speed. You want to be able to get out fast. By get out, I mean get out of the red circle, and if they identify you, the red circle is going to move. So you want to move as fast as you can. You know, however you accomplish that is up to you. You know, a lot of it depends on the landscape, which we'll look at a little bit later. But the main thing is to get out as fast as you can, and you know, let that wanted meter go down. And if you can wait out that wanted meter, that's a real good thing, because you'll be, you know, home free. But you want to be able to get out of that red circle and then wait out the wanted meter. And be careful. If you see some red dots near the edge of the circle, your circle will move. You don't want them to identify you, so you want to hide. Find a good spot to hide behind, you know, so you can not get caught. So you got to, you know, try to think things through. You know, you can be outside that red circle, but if one of the officers or one of the sheriffs sees you, red circle starts all over again. So that's just something to keep in mind there. You know, you might want to scout out a little bit beforehand. If there's a back door, if it's only a front door, it's a lot easier to get out if there's a back door, and gives you a lot more options. If there's two doors in the building, you know, there's a lot more different ways you can leave. So something you might want to look at ahead of time. Obviously, the one that has, you know, the stores that have more than one door, you know, that gives you an advantage, because you can see the red dots and you can say, okay, red dots are by this door, I'm going to take the other door, and, you know, hopefully sneak out to safety. If you're faced with only one door, you got to go through some, you know, law enforcement, and you could raise a bounty. It could end badly for you. You might not even make it out. So you got to be careful in that respect as well.
Are we done here?
Don't forget about the horse. The horse can be very valuable. I mean very valuable. Having a horse nearby, whether it's your horse or someone else's horse that you just steal and run off with, can be very, very valuable. You have a horse to escape, that's a good thing, because you can move a lot quicker. Now, if the lawmen that are chasing you are on a horse, it's not so good. But if you can get out of there quickly, you know, make some obstacles, keep them to where they're chasing on foot, you're going to get outside that circle right away. And that's what you want to do, because you want to, you know, complete the robbery and move on and make things back to normal, right? Law enforcement is one thing you may want to scout or have an idea. If it's something's heavily guarded, might not want to attempt it. Just saying, doesn't mean you can't attempt it, but just kind of know where they are. And, that's part of your escape plan. If you know where they are, you can, maneuver and stuff. If there's not a lot of them out there, it improves your odds.
Look out, mister.
Also, the farther away law enforcement is, if there's a witness or someone like that that's going to report them to the law enforcement, you have more time to get out should a witness see what you're doing and report you in. So, be careful in that respect as well. Landscape is a very wide subject matter. Basically, in a nutshell, you want to be able to hide behind something or get away quickly. Sometimes, let's say in Saint Denis, that could be, jumping over a few walls, where they're not going to see you as quickly. Out in the open, you're going to want to run and just get out of there right away. But be aware that, that comes back to the escape plan thing. Be aware of what your surroundings are and how that affects if you can get out or not. And, try to think that through. Maybe take it, maybe save your game. Like I said, save your game beforehand and maybe take a test run and try a strategy. If that doesn't work out, reload your game and try again, try a different strategy. Try to use the landscape to your advantage if you can by hiding behind stuff where they can't see you, and of course, getting out of that red circle, which we're going to tackle next. Is you want to leave that red dot or the red circle fast. You want to get out right away, which is kind of what we've been discussing in the other points. The faster you get outside of there, or once you're outside of there, your meter can start draining. Now, of course, you got to watch out for any red dot officers or law enforcement that see you, because if they see you, the red dot starts all over again, and you don't want that happening, like what I mentioned earlier. So you want to leave the red dot fast, get out of there as fast as you can. And, then wait till or you can keep running, and then wait till that wanted meter drains all the way down to the end. And if you can do that, you'll have a successful robbery. And of course, watch out, though, if you decide to come back into the city for, red dot, particularly law enforcement, because if they see you or identify you, it could be a problem. But, like I said earlier, you want to use a disguise so you can't get identified. And if you can do that, it makes it a lot easier, because then your name's not on the wanted list. Because they know somebody did it, but they don't know who did it. That's why you want to wear a disguise, like we said earlier. This tip is kind of important. It doesn't mean you can't rob gun shops, but I would just say this. Gun dealers are going to fight back. I have tried like 3 or 4 different gun dealers, I believe, and I'm going to show 2 of them on here in the video. But they fight back. It doesn't mean you can't take them out with your own gun, of course. However, if there's an armed confrontation, you're going to be way more likely to have witnesses. Multiple witnesses, even law enforcement will hear it. And they're going to come at you. And you're going to have to get out of there right away. It's going to make your escape a lot tougher, much, much tougher. It doesn't mean that you can't get out. It just means that it's going to be a lot tougher, because those gun dealers are going to fight back. And, it's going to be much, much tougher to get out. Doesn't mean you can't do it. If you played a lot and you get good at the game, you can get out of those situations. It just makes it a tougher challenge. So something to consider. Maybe again you like the challenge, so maybe you want to save your game beforehand, and then take on the gun dealers anyway. You know, that could be a viable option as well. Our next point is that, and this is a point I've kind of made throughout there, but I'm just going to put it in writing here. The bounties can cost more than what is in the register. And what exactly does that mean? Well, that means you don't want to escalate by stopping a witness. So let's say you see a witness, just leave the witness, get out of the circle. Because if you got a disguise on, they don't know who it is. You know, your priority is to leave that red dot fast. You know, you're going to escalate it by stopping the witness. You know, gunshots make noise. If you tackle them, you make noise, etc. Either scenario, you're going to have more witnesses. So you could stop one witness, but if there's a lot of noise and there's other people around, you're going to have more witnesses, which creates a bigger problem. Could even increase your bounty, you know. So that's not good. You don't want to escalate the situation by stopping a witness. Try to, you know, just get out of there, avoid the confrontation, take your winnings, and get out. You know, and the other tip, and this is kind of makes sense, and this goes along with what I've been saying with the other ones, is basically you do not want to fight back because it makes the bounty go up. Okay, let's say you see a bunch of law enforcement. All right, you could shoot them. Okay, but it makes your bounty go way up. Also, the more gunshots that are heard, it makes your red dot more visible. It could even make it bigger. So as your, you know, and as your bounty goes up, it's going to cost you way more than what's in the register. So avoid fighting law enforcement. Just try to get out of there and get a horse, hide behind something, run. I don't know. Do what you got to do. Get out of there. You know, don't make that bounty go up. Try to, you know, escape safely. Hide behind something. Let the meter go down. Get out of the circle. Let the meter, you know, however you have to do it. Get out of that zone. Maybe don't visit for a while if the town goes into... Well, the town won't go into lockdown if you don't start shooting up the place. But, you know, try to be smart about it. Don't make it cost yourself more. Don't make that bounty go up. You know, so don't fight back. All right, that about covers all the tips except for one. We're going to cover it in the controller mechanics segment of this video here. Getting the bandana to come up can be tricky. Getting this screen to come up is a little tricky. What you want to do is you want to hold down this L1 button right here. And as you hold it down, you're going to want to, in this case, there's only one items thing, but usually there's more than one item. So you're going to hit the R1 button till you find the item screen right there. Once you have the items thing, what you're going to want to do is then take this analog stick right here. I'm going to use a different color there so you can see better. You take an analog stick right there, and you're going to make it go over here to where this is in red. And to put the bandana on, what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to get a if the bandana's on, it's going to have a little check mark like that. So what you want to do is again release this button right here. Release this L1 button. So you're going to want to release that button. And if you can do that, if you can release that button, then you should be good to go. So basically it's hold down L1, push R1 till you get to items, analog stick goes where the bandana is, and then you release L1, and voila, you have the bandana on.
Open that thing.
Okay, you were walking around, you held down the L2 button right here, And then you've seen this option that said R2 aim weapon, so you held that down too. So you're pointing the weapon at him. You'd like to not point the weapon at him, so you can get to this register right here. What you do to do that is you're simply going to release R2 and then release L2. When you release L2, it's going to take this gun right here, and it's going to put it down. Now that you've got the gun down, you'll see an option that says rob with the square. You'll simply hold the square button down and walk up there, and then you can take money out of the register. Now, one other caveat is sometimes the register can be have money taken out of it twice. In this case, the answer is no, but sometimes it can be taken out twice, so you can always double check. Of course, you know, be cautious on time, as it can get a little crazy when the witnesses start reporting. You know, you've got to get out and flee as soon as you can. Well, that pretty much wraps up our video here on shop robbery tips. I'd like to thank everyone for watching and wish you good luck in your play.